Hi, and welcome to Intrepid Wisdom. My name is Deborah J, and today's episode we have Angel Quintana. Angel is the founder of Holistic Fashionista, which is a community-based platform and magazine supporting those on their spiritual path. She's a Life Path Astrologer, a tarot reader, a writer, and a business coach, and she's mentored thousands of holistic leaders around the globe in discovering their life path and also attracting their kismet clients so they can heal themselves and create the brand new earth. So you're so welcome, Angel.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to get started.
Yeah, I've been watching you for a while. So I've seen you a lot on YouTube, and you do your monthly Life Path Astrology readings, and it always blows my mind as to how accurate they are, because it's a YouTube video going out to thousands and thousands of people, and it's crazy accurate, and it just blows my mind. But I know for me, astrology is one of these things that I think is very misunderstood. I think quite often people see it as being, at the back of a magazine, and they read the horoscope and, oh, that's me or that's not me. And it's not very accurate. And it's so much more complex than that. And you have developed a Life Path Astrology course that you do, and you do readings with people and you're training people. And I just feel now more than ever, that's what the world needs, because I think people are just waking up and going, what am I doing? I'm in a stressed out job, and I'm in a 9 to 5 and I need to leave that. So maybe you could tell us a little bit about that. But before then, maybe you could just lead us in by giving us what your journey is to, how did you come to doing this?
Wow, I know it's been quite a process. So I had my first experience with astrology. My best friend, her mother, when I was 14, she read my birth chart. And I just fell in love with it. So she kind of became a mentor to me. So when I finally went off to college at age 18, she sent me off with all these books. I didn't have any friends where I was moving to college. So I literally just read books. It was kind of just like a hobby that I did forever. And it wasn't until, gosh, maybe several years into Holistic Fashionista, fast forward, 20 something years, that I was like, what if I infused astrology into my business coaching? Because I've been a business coach for about a decade now. And so that was kind of an interesting transition of finding a way to finagle astrology into my program at the time, which is called Signature System, which is really about taking everything that lights you up and organizing it into a step-by-step system in order to create products and services and serve your kismet clients. And so I was like, well, let me see if I can look at my birth chart. And I was kind of my own case study at that point, if I could, use astrology in my business. So I'm like, well, I'm going to look at my chart and I'm going to see what holes I'm seeing. And so I kind of just randomly started developing a methodology that I now have a trademark called Life Path Astrology. And so I look at the chart through the lens of the life path. And so it's a lot about the 12th house. The 12th house is those karmic debts, those soul contracts, those things that we came to work through in this lifetime. The second house is the things that you value, and also money. So that kind of became like, oh, well, that's like our products and services. That should be the things that we're charging for. And then the rising sign, which, is how other people see you. I'm like, well, if people are seeing you a certain way, it's usually because it's something inside of them that they want more of, right? So we're reflecting the things that we really desire. So this really started to take on a life of its own. So several years ago, I ended up doing a little giveaway just to see if people would want me to do these readings to see if the methodology resonated with them. So I did a little giveaway. I gave away 100 of them. And the response from not only the giveaway, but from the readings was astronomical. And I was like, okay, I really stumbled upon something, or the divine gave me this gift or whatever. So I turned those readings into a podcast. I just recorded the readings. I put them on iTunes and just kind of let them do their thing. And that slowly developed into the clients that I read for. They're like, I want to learn how to read the birth chart through the lens that you're using. And I'm like, they're like, can you do a certification program? And I was like, I'm so busy at that point that I'm like, I don't even know how to have time for that. So It took me about 1.5 years to finally be like, okay, you guys, I'm going to do it. And so then I launched the Life Path Astrology Reader Certification. And now we've got about almost 40 readers now who have taken the course. And it's just, again, I'm going to just credit the divine here. It really isn't me. I think I have just now tapped into my higher self and listening to my intuition and my guides, and obviously my kismet clients who are my 12th house telling me what it is that they want from me. And that's how this whole thing has just organically been able to grow.
And can I ask you, in your own chart, for any of, like, there's going to be people listening to this who will be like, what? I have no idea what you're talking about. But when you get started looking at the natal chart, it's just so interesting. It really is. And you'll be blown away by how much it really describes you. But in your chart, what does your chart say about you in terms of where you're, you know, sun, moon, rising, 12th house?
Yeah.
What have you got going on? I'd love to know.
So my methodology is really about the rising sign. So I know a lot of people identify with their sun sign. I obviously very much identify with my sun sign. But when we're waking up and we're going through the healing journey, the dark night of the soul, the awakening process, whatever you want to call it, it brings us back to our own human nature. And so to me, the best way to heal is to be of service. And so the rising sign, which I have Virgo rising, is really how other people see you. So I know that when people see my Instagram or they come to a course or whatever they're seeing, seeing in me, they're seeing this person who is likely to be a healer because Virgo rules the 6th house, or, you know, someone that's really articulate, someone knows how to take chaotic things and simplify them, turn chaos into order or clarity. So that was really like, I'm like, okay, I'm really good at breaking down, you know, concepts that maybe seem a little bit chaotic or a little bit complicated. Like a birth chart can be very intimidated to someone who runs it for the first time. I'm like, but I can chunk it down. It's just like a natural thing that's good for me and a way for me to share with my audience. So that rising sign, I really bumped up that part of my personality in my, you know, social channels, in my newsletter and things like that. And so, but my 12th house, which is what I call your kismet client, this is like all the stuff that you came to work through in this lifetime, is there's a little bit of Leo in my 12th house, and then the majority of it is Virgo. And so I know that my kismet client, the people I'm here to serve, they are overachievers. They're maybe workaholics. They are potentially light workers, you know, that Leo, you know, sun energy, potentially want the spotlight or at least want that influence. They want to make a difference. But the main thing is that they want to help heal the world. They want to help create the new earth. That's all that Virgo energy. But they are looking for more of that, that more simplistic route to get there. So a lot of them have a ton of ideas. They don't want to focus on one thing. You know, I always have this funny saying, you know, people say, you know, if you want something done, give it to a busy person. But I always say, if you want something done, give it to a Virgo, because Virgo is going to make sure that it's done just the best of its ability. And so I feel like Virgo, that energy of my kismet client, and it's not to say that they're all have Virgo in their chart, it's just the energy of Virgo is who I'm here to serve. They have so many ideas, they have so many gifts, they have so many talents, they're so skilled, they're so many certifications, credentials, what have you.
Tell me about it. I'm a Virgo and I have that problem. I'm like, okay, stop with the things, like, yeah, totally.
So they're not going to be able to focus on one thing. So then that's where I'm like, well, let me take everything that you love and let's organize it. And let's really get down to, you know, what problem you solve, what products and services to offer, and really do it from the soul.
And who do you feel your role models have been, you know, from childhood up to now? Like, I know you're saying that, you know, you were given the gift of doing your astrology. Really, you were given the gift of astrology and your tarot as well and it was handed down to you. And this is something that I think that we're missing nowadays as well. Like, you know, we're spending less time human to human with people to actually have these beautiful gifts handed down to us. Like, who else were your role models, or how else did you come to do what you're doing?
So I went to natural medicine school about a decade ago, from me burning out with adrenal fatigue when I was running my first business as a clothing designer. So I went to natural medicine school to teach myself how to heal myself. And one of my instructors was Bruce Lipton. And he talks about epigenetics, energy, things like that, and how the cells all come together, and that your environment is really the thing that's dictating whether you heal or not. And so that was one of my lessons. I'm really into metaphysics. I have a Scorpio stellium in my second house, so I am very much into the shadows and the metaphysics and some of those more taboo topics, those mystical topics. So those are very interesting to me. And Bruce really brings that more like biological, that more science component, but it's still very like, it's very law of attraction-ish to some degree. So it still has that more like cosmic force to it. So he was a big influence to me. I've obviously, call me a conspiracy realist, but I'm definitely someone who's always looking for some of those things that people don't want to look at. So I'll look at like YouTube videos that are exploring topics, whether it's aliens, whether it's, what's going on politically, anything that has to do with light working. So another one would be Jordan Peterson. I think he's a Canadian. He's like I think he's a psychologist. So he kind of brings also that more, woo-woo element to the more, system of psychology. Carl Jung was somebody for me, Edgar Casey. Those kind of like influenced my role here as far as like healing and energy. And then that kind of just spawned off of just, now I'm very open. I mean, I could learn from anyone. I might not know their name firsthand, but I'm very open to just show me what I can't see, show me what I haven't seen yet. And I really feel that every single person on this planet has something to teach and something to share. And so I'm very open-minded to whoever wants to talk about something that would interest me. I am all ears.
And I think that's really important at the moment as well, because of, anybody who's looking at the alternative media side of things, or if they're new at, looking at this side of things. I think we have a tendency to replace one thing for another. And so I know for myself in the past, having followed the mainstream media and then realizing that it was all questionable. And then looking at the alternative narrative, then you kind of get sucked into, like, your mind needs to be open. You need to be open to, I feel, to all the different possibilities, but then you need to learn how to discern, which can be really difficult. And I think the only way to do that is to kind of go back into yourself and know who you are personally. But also, I think this is why astrology is really important. I know for me personally, astrology it's been an incredible tool for navigating life. There's aspects of your personality that when you look at them on an astrological chart, you can kind of go, oh, that's why I'm a bit crazy this month. Do you know what I mean? Or that's just part of who I am. And I think that in terms of all these beautiful role models that you've had, it's so lovely to have that tacit knowledge passed down and handed over. And then you can kind of weave your own version of it, because you have your kismet clients as well. Like, where did the kismet clients concept come from?
So, well, the word kismet was something that I have always used. So kismet means fate or serendipitous events that lead to something magical, synchronistic events. And so kismet was just something that seems effortless. It's not like you're very much in the receiving mode, that divine feminine element where you're receptive, right? You're bringing things to you. If you've ever bumped into people, at the supermarket, or like for me, I kept bumping into, at the time, my ex-husband before we got married. So he was like, are you like stalking me or something? How are we always bumping into each other? And I said, it's kismet. And he didn't know what the word meant, so he went and looked it up. But it's really when the divine intervenes and brings a pathway to you. And so to me, I don't look at business through the lens of like selling and marketing. I look at it as like, who is naturally attracted to me, who is naturally gravitating to me, and I want to be of service to them. So instead of going out and finding clients, I just use astrology so that I know what they're looking for, and then I'll just give them the content, and then that will bring them to email me or direct message me or subscribe or whatever they're doing. And that has been, it's kind of like for just a silly example, it's like the pretty girl at the party. Like, she's not going to go around and try to talk to everybody. She's going to sit there, and if somebody wants to come talk to her, then she'll chat with them. You know, it's not that she's a snob or anything. It's just that it's an energy. And if people are attracted to your energy, they will come out and seek it out. You don't actually have to force. You don't have to push things onto people. It naturally will come to you. And that, to me, is where the kismet client is the most important part of your business, more than the products that you offer, more than the problem that you solve. The kismet client is you, really, because it's your 12th house. It's the part of you that's hidden. It's the part of you that has a soul contract. It's the part of you that needs healing. And so, to me, if I am, you know, those kismet clients are finding me, they're finding me so that we can exchange energy. They're getting a problem solved, and I'm getting the healing that I need to resolve a soul contract.
And do you find that most of your clients, or most of the people who are attracted to you then, are more in terms of, you know, for those who are considering the idea of starting their own business and stepping away from the 9-to-5 stress out world, and they're looking to kind of do their own thing? Are your clients more soulpreneurs, for argument's sake, people who are doing more spiritual work, or do you find that you have clients who are doing kind of the normal non-spiritual work as well?
You know, I think because of that little bit of Leo in my 12th house, they are definitely light workers. I think they've always worked really hard in their life, whether their current career, you know, was corporate or whatever it was. There's always been this part of like wanting to illuminate people, make people feel special. You know, that's what Leo does best. They love to adore. They love to put people in the spotlight. They want to make people feel good, embrace their inner child, have fun. But they've got this hardcore work ethic because of Virgo. So together, that pairing to me really says that they are the light worker. They just need to unravel or unprogram that need to get things done perfectly, or get all of those ducks in a row, and just kind of surrender to their divinity. And I think that their soul knows that. And so, yeah, I would say 99.9% of the people that come to me, they're like, I'm waking up, I found your YouTube channel, I do feel called to create the new earth, I don't know how I'm going to do this. Or it's people that already have a business, they're like, I started the wrong business, I need to edit it, you know. So I can get any gamut of that, but they do feel very called to be of service to mankind.
And you use tarot as well. Do you teach the tarot as alongside the astrology side, or is it just kind of mainly the astrology?
So yeah, tarot has been such an interesting tool. One thing I will say about myself is I'm a triple earth sign. So if you have a lot of earth in your chart, I feel like we are more like, I don't want like spiritually challenged or whatever. Like, we're just so like grounded and like in the physical. And so tarot has been a great tool for me in my spirituality to kind of get out of that like 3D physical material world element, which is very hard for the earth signs. And tarot has been a way to just receive the downloads through imagery, through using the third eye, through connecting to, you know, I mean, music comes to me when I look at tarot, colors, shapes. I mean, anything that comes to me now is just kind of like swimming in there. And so that has been a great tool. And I only purchased my first tarot deck when I turned 41, which was like, almost 4 years ago. And so I was self-taught there. And then I was like, okay, well, I guess I'll just like try to, you know, implement Life Path Astrology into the tarot and just kind of like see what happens. And so I started the YouTube channel, you know, doing readings based on each sign of the zodiac. They're mostly just around life path and spirituality, not so much like love readings or anything like that. And so that became like its own little, again, the universe was like, this is it, you're doing your purpose, because it was very easy to kind of get it up and going and build a subscriber base. So I felt like, again, I found a sweet spot of what was really in my soul's brilliance. So I do have a tarot course that I think I have 2 on my website. It hasn't been something about like, people have asked me like, how do I read tarot cards like you? And I'm like, oh gosh, am I going to have to create a certification for that too? I'm like, I don't know. So, I mean, again, it's just, I'm using my intuition. I'm using what astrology has already brought to my life, and I'm just translating it in with tarot.
Yeah, it's amazing, in fairness, how they all tie in so neatly together, and they really do just slot in like jigsaw pieces. just because I think you mentioned something earlier on, it brought me to mind. There's a lot of talk all over the place about twin flames this, twin flames that, and love tarot and all this kind of things. There's lots of different channels on it, but I notice it does come up in your readings quite a lot, or it does, well, for me anyway, it seems to come up. But what's your understanding of twin flame? And can you explain what it is to people who have absolutely no idea what this is?
Oh my gosh. It's so funny that you're bringing this up. I'm like laughing. Well, first of all, I just did a little podcast with a girlfriend, another client who's amazing and very spiritual, Pisces, so very tuned in, about soul contractual relationships. And so obviously we did talk about twin flames and soulmates and karmic and all this other, but to me, the twin flame energy is just the divine masculine and divine feminine energies that, belong together. And to me, there is like all different kinds of people talking about twin flames. I don't consider myself a twin flame expert by any means, but I am in a relationship with my twin flame. It was very natural. It was very easy. A lot of people think that the twin flame relationship is difficult, that it's the runner and the chaser and all this other things. But to me, I really feel like those relationships are catalysts to help you learn soul contracts and fulfill soul contracts. But the twin flame energy is, it's just like a meeting of the minds, a meeting of the souls, a meeting of the hearts. And to me, it is more effortless than it is chaotic. And I guess I didn't really realize that until I had done that podcast with my friend the other week. And, we talked about this concept of catalysts and the people that keep circling around in our life. We have maybe mislabeled them twin flames because they keep coming around year after year after year, but for whatever reason, they never come to fruition. And to me, they're coming around because they have a lesson to teach. There was a contract there for us to play out. They were going to play an integral role. But to me, that is not the twin flame. Now that I am in a twin flame dynamic, it has been very natural. It is almost like, it is like looking at myself, even though this person doesn't look like me physically. It's also someone I might not have chosen. But there was a magnetism, like even just being in the presence of this person. I definitely tried to like cut it off here and there because I'm like, this isn't the normal person that I would pick. And so, but it was impossible to stay away, and it didn't stay away for long. And then once I surrendered to it, I was like, wow, this is very easy.
Yeah, because my understanding has definitely been that kind of push-pull, and it's supposed to be really horrendous, and then you're supposed to leave each other and then come back and it's supposed to be amazing, like, spend lifetimes chasing each other. So it's an unusual concept. And also, like, what's the difference between a soulmate and a twin flame? Or as you say, somebody who's just coming into your life and they're just there to teach you lessons. Because I do feel that everybody is here to teach you a lesson in some way, shape or form. And even the negative, and I'm kind of always saying this, the negative aspects are they're just signposts back to, you haven't learned this, you need to do it again. Or sometimes I find the universe throws things at you and it's like, have you really made your decision on that? Are you sure you've learned it? And it kind of gets thrown up again. So yeah, it's interesting with the twin flame that it's melted so nicely and easily for you.
Yeah, I mean, I think the karmic relation, I think all relationships are karmic, whether it's your children, whether it's, a loved one, a love life, any of that. But I think a twin flame is a soulmate. I think a soulmate is not necessarily like the meeting of the divine feminine, divine masculine. I think the soulmate is a level of, it's a higher dimensional relationship where there's love and respect. But the twin flame to me is literally like a lot of similarities. Like even when I looked at my twins chart, like I used to make the joke like, oh, I would never date a Libra. Like, oh, no Libras, please make up your mind already. Like I'm so triple earth over here. And how funny that again, when it came together, it was this melding of this, like, and it kind of healed my issues with Libra immediately. And then we both had all this Scorpio in our chart. We both have Venus in Scorpio. He has Mars in Scorpio. So our charts were even like a little uncanny there. So I think soulmates, it's a high vibrational relationship with a level of respect, but there's only one twin, I think, in my opinion. And that's a very effortless relationship that helps you to evolve even higher than maybe a soulmate relationship would into I think, intergalactical. I mean, my twin flame is a starseed. I'm a starseed. So it's just something much more bigger as in purpose. It's not just about procreation or getting married or any of the beautiful ceremonies that you do in this realm with relationship. There's actually like a divine union partnership to help make the world better. And I think the twin flame dynamic is really together, you help to raise the vibration of the planet. And I think a soulmate relationship, that's not the main intention.
That's a lovely, it's a lovely difference. Actually, it's a nice defining difference as well in it. And you mentioned, you talk a lot about raising vibrations. You talk about the fifth dimension. Can you even talk, and also starseeds, maybe can you explain again in your own opinion what a starseed is? Because for those who are just waking up, they're like, starseed, I keep hearing the word starseed, what is this? So it's nice to also clarify for new people listening, but also for people who are listening who kind of feel that they're a little bit different, there's something a little bit not adding up for them. Perhaps you can explain your own version of starseed.
Okay, we're gonna go there.
Drop in.
Okay, so I guess the easiest way I could explain it is, I believe that on this realm, there are more than just humans, okay? There's some darker forces here, there's obviously humans, and then there's starseeds. So I believe that while we all might look like we're all human, I don't believe that every single one of us is in that exact cosmic makeup. And so a starseed is potentially, you know, someone who's from these other galaxies, and they come here for a mission. There's a mission to help raise the vibration, because there's other galactical beings, there's other galactical groups of souls hanging around, that we all have like a purpose. So I believe that the star seeds came here to help raise the vibration. So the humans who might be stuck in the third dimension, and it's not that all humans are stuck in the third dimension, but for this example, you know, there's a lot of, you know, negativity or victim mentality or living in fear. So the starseeds are really here to come to help like shift that mindset. Right. So when you think about a twin flame, if it is a starseed, you know, intergalactical relationship, they have divine mission, and that mission is a purpose. So a lot of humans, you know, we kind of get caught up on like, you know, politically, oh my gosh, what's happening? Like, oh my gosh, vaccinations, oh my gosh. But a starseed is able to see above that and see like a bigger purpose for all of it. And so we get more comfortable with the darkness than maybe humans might. And so darkness is no longer like scary or fear-based or what have you. It just is. And so when you get to a place of seeing it from that perspective, then you're able to go on your mission and just know that even with all the darkness, I still have a purpose. I still have a mission. I'm here for a reason, this and that. So, and, you know, same thing with humans. You know, humans are, you know, potentially procreating. They're creating new life. They're creating, you know, new businesses and new, you know, nourishing nature. They're doing all these things for this planet. And I feel like the starseeds and the light workers are supporting the humans in helping them to rise. So, and the thing is, the starseeds and light workers wouldn't have come here if the humans didn't need our support. So we only have a purpose because we're needed for them. So our mission is to, like, they're our kismet client. You see what I'm saying? Like from a bigger perspective, to help defeat some of the lower dark entity, whether you want to call them, you know, reptilians or aliens or whatever you want to call them, but those are the ones that we're helping the humans to rise, so that the darker forces, so that the vibration of the planet can rise, because we can't actually get to the next phase of consciousness if there's not enough humans with a raised vibration, a higher level of consciousness. So it's our job as starseeds to help elevate that.
Yeah, because I came across, have you ever heard of Dolores Cannon?
Yes, I love her.
Yeah, I discovered Dolores Cannon a good number of months ago, and I was like, oh, that's why I'm feeling the way I'm feeling. And anybody who doesn't know Dolores Cannon, I can't even say the word, I'll put links below so you can check her out, because really that's a wake up call. And she explained it so beautifully as well. Like, and the whole thing is like, we're here, we're atoms and energy, we're vibrations, we're frequency. When you turn on a light, you don't need to know how electricity works. It just works. It's energy. And so raising the vibration may sound a bit woo woo to some people, but actually you're doing it every single day. If you walk into a room and somebody's in a bad mood and you sit with them for long enough, if your vibrations are not in balance, you're going to pick up their bad mood and be in a bad mood. Equally goes for if you walk into a room, somebody's in good mood and they're really, really happy, and you're a little bit low and you're open to it, your vibrations will raise. That's all vibrations. It's all frequency. So there are aspects of this that can sound a little bit woo-woo and out there to people, but if we can understand things at a more basic level of atoms and energy, I think that probably explains a little bit more for people. But I certainly feel there's definitely something going on out there in terms of there's a divide in people are kind of starting to wake up. Oh, I need to actually be helping people, or I need to be doing this 9-to-5 job. And that is totally fine. I know for me, I've struggled because I know that I can't do 9-to-5 anymore. It's a crazy, crazy world. It's madness. Or at least not do it with some sort of purpose. So for me, my eyes are open and there needs to be a purpose. And so do you feel for people who are waking up to that vibration or waking up to that idea that maybe there's something more to life, would you consider them to be starseeds? Would you consider them to just be light workers, or what would you think about that?
I mean, I think that I don't know how many starseeds are on the planet right now, but a lot of them can be asleep. You know, I would say if you met me a decade ago, I wouldn't have ever identified with that term, but I've always felt from a very young age that I remember being 7 years old doing cartwheels in the front lawn of my home. And I remember asking myself, why are we here? What is the purpose of this? Like, and that's a little bit of a crazy question to be asking when you're 7 years old. So I think there's people that, you know, because energy of this planet has kind of programmed us to, you know, I was taught, go to school, get a good job, get married, have kids. So I played that tape over and over again. And it wasn't until I got sick, right, with adrenal fatigue from that business, that I went on that spiritual quest, because I'm like, I need to heal. So a lot of times our karmic, you know, contract here is really, we've got to go through something, you know, potentially life-threatening or losing a loved one or something that rattles us, to wake us up and remind us that we are here for a purpose. And some people, you know, bless their hearts, they're lucky. Maybe they never had health issues, and maybe relationships have come easier to them. Maybe they've come from a really healthy home life, you know, and so they're the humans here that are here to make the planet great. And the starseeds are here to help them continue to make it great. So I feel like there is starseeds that are waking up to them understanding that they are light workers and starseeds. Absolutely.
Yeah, I remember having that kind of a similar circumstance happening as a kid. And I'd say I was maybe only, again, 6 or 7 as well, lying in bed at nighttime, hearing my thoughts in my head and going, this is strange. Like, why am I here? Who's talking? Who's doing the thinking? Like, and at a really, really young age, questioning that. And it's a bizarre thing to kind of question your own thought processes and your own reality. And yeah, it's an interesting pattern, but it's definitely happened. I think there is a lot of people waking up. And I think this whole epidemic, pandemic, whatever way you want to look at it, is, you know, it's had terrible consequences for people. But I think that human nature, exactly as you've said, we can't really make change quite often unless something bad happens. And if you're, absolutely, if you're one of the lucky ones who you don't need that to happen, it's amazing. Well done. Congratulations. But I do think most people do need that extra shake. And so I think with the first round of the world shutdown that we had, it woke a lot of people up. But I still think there's not enough people awake, which is why we're most likely going to face another world shutdown of some degree. What do you feel, or how do you feel using, say, your Life Path Astrology, your tarot, the whole lot? What can people do coming into this next phase to help themselves, to grow, to step into themselves, to step into their own empowerment? Or, you know, they'll be hearing lots of people saying about waking up. They might not know what that even means yet. What would you say to these people?
So my whole mission is to help create new holistic leaders of tomorrow. And I feel like the world needs new leadership. The ones that were in leadership and power in the past have not done their job. They haven't been for the greater good. It's been very corrupt in that way. And so I'm also a big believer in the power of numbers and the power of energy. And so to me, if you are waking up for whatever that means to you, and you are feeling called to help, you know, be the change you wish to see in the world, well, then that to me is somebody who's a leader in the making. And a leader is really someone that's got to get to the point where they don't care what people think about them. They know that they're here for a reason, and they want to find out what that is. And so with Life Path Astrology, it's kind of like, I guess you could say it's like the introduction. It's like the first phase of being like, okay, well, I'm open. You know, I've gone through some shit. I'm waking up now, and tell me what you see. You know, it's kind of like when people go to like, you know, tarot readers on like holiday, and it's just like for fun and stuff, you know? And so this is just one way to get to the next phase. And so with the reading of the chart, there's so much information there that, you know, you can start to imagine where it can go from there. And I think if you can't hold the vision in your mind, you can't see it in your physical reality. So this will start to ignite the creative thought process, you know, because I don't believe that there's someone out there that's going to tell you, oh, this is what you're here to do. You can get a reading, and then it's up to you, like wherever you have an aha moment, that's going to take you down a new door. But the next door, when you open that door, you won't be shown the next door until you walk through the first one. So it's kind of the opposite of what we've been taught. We've been taught, well, if you do this and this and this, it will equal that. But the spiritual path is much different. It's like you only get to see the one door at a time. So Life Path Astrology is one door, and when you open it, and you're like, oh shit, there's a lot of stuff in there. And then you start walking down, well, now I want to go to that door. Okay, and then that one over there. And that becomes a series of doors until you've built a home that has all of these different windows and all of these different landscapes and all these different creative ideas. And that's when you start to really get inspired. And that's when you start to activate your moon. You know, your moon is your motivation, what keeps you inspired. So if you're feeling like, you know, dumpy and, you know, and lazy and angry and all that stuff, it's because your moon is saying, hey, like, you're not taking care of me. So Life Path Astrology also says that all of the planets are not outside of you in the solar system. They're inside of you in the form of glands, in the form of, you know, tissue, and, you know, all of those organs that are inside of us. And so when we are, you know, have health issues, or we have negative thinking, or we're feeling lazy, it's just a planet in your chart that is not getting its proper nutrients. It's not getting enough attention. You are suppressing it, and you've got to give it attention.
I love that. Absolutely love that. I have studied a bit of herbal medicine and plant medicine around the world at different places. And more recently, I was at home, and I was like, oh wow, herbal medicine and astrology, because I've been studying a little bit of astrology, a little bit of tarot. I've been doing all sorts of things during the lockdown. But recently I was like, oh wow, herbs and planets and tarot. And I was like, oh my God, it's a whole new world. So I started to look it up, thinking I had created this amazing idea, and sure, it already exists, and it's just so
Herbal astrology.
interesting. Oh my God, it's just a whole world, and it all connects in.
Yeah.
But it's just so lovely that, yeah, you can look at your chart, you can look at your natal chart, you can look at your transits currently and see what's going on in the world. I think we have Jupiter, Saturn and Pluto and Capricorn at the moment, with loads of things happening with Mars. So like August and September is going to be a crazy month by the sounds of it anyway. But like, you know, I personally have had my own ups and downs, but now that I'm looking at the planets, I'm like, of course I'm having my ups and downs. There's lots of crazy things happening. So it's lovely to have that to kind of guide back to. So if people wanted to do your Life Path Astrology course, or if they wanted a reading, how do they go about doing that if they're curious about taking the next step?
They can visit my website, angelquintana.com. If you want to take a free class around the age of Aquarius, which is really where my mission comes in, it's angelquintana.com/certification. And that's just a free class, whether they decide they want to do the certification or not. I think it's a very worthwhile masterclass to to listen to. And then if they want a reading, I don't personally do readings anymore. That's why I started certifying people anyway. And so they can go to the Holistic Fashionista Temple, and there's numerous readers now that are certified. We also do offer a Life Path Astrology report, which is a printed report all around, you know, the planets that are in your chart as it pertains to Life Path Astrology.
And you're doing business coaching as well, aren't you? You've got your kismet clients as well. So for people who are, who've got kind of itchy feet and want to move it into being their own boss, you have your own course as well.
Yeah, I have numerous courses. I have a 12-month academy. I have, my most popular one is called the Kismet Client Academy. It's a 3-month program. They do work with me in groups every Wednesday. But honestly, the best way would probably be just to find me on Instagram. I posted my stories pretty much every single day, and I'll let people know what's open and what classes are available right now. And I'm always just, when I'm feeling inspired, which we're in like Virgo season about, and now I'm going to be really activated and motivated because my moon is also in Virgo. So I will be probably, running with the forces until we hit Libra season.
And tell me this, I like to ask everybody when they're on the podcast what their intrepid wisdom would be for the generations that are coming ahead. What do you feel your intrepid wisdom would be to pass on to the generations that are coming ahead, or to those who are inspired to lead this new world?
What piece of wisdom could I share here? I feel like the best, most empowering thing that I could share is that you have all of the answers yourself. There's no one out there, not me, not astrology, not anyone who can, flash their magic wand and make it better for you or answer your questions. All those questions live inside of you. And the more that you know yourself, and that's what really astrology has helped me with, is like, oh, yeah, I'm a triple earth sign, but I got 4 planets in Scorpio. Like, why don't you go pay attention to that? That's very intuitive. So I feel like the more you can know yourself, the more you'll be guided, not only to things and to open new doors, but people will find you. So it's really up to us to, take full control and ownership of our reality, whether, mind, body, and spirit, like from the thoughts we think, to the people we hang out with, to the food we consume, to the relationships we pursue. All of those are our decisions. We have the power to change, and only we can do the work. And I do believe all of those answers are inside of us. I know we want to go to the doctor, and we want to go to a business coach, and we want to go to the therapist, and we think that they're going to solve our problem. But I do believe that this vessel is worth billions, and that's why there is, sex trafficking and, all of this stuff going on, because they know the value of what the human body and the human spirit possesses. And when you understand how valuable you are, those answers will come.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Perfect. Yeah, absolutely. I totally agree. And I think now more than ever, people are being forced into themselves. They're being forced into, because to its own end, you hear this like, go inside yourself, and you're like, where is inside me? I don't have a key. I don't know how to get in there, but I do think astrology is definitely one of the if you want a starter block, it's amazing. And even just listening to your readings every month on YouTube, for anybody who hasn't seen it, you need to check them out. Go have a look at Holistic Fashionista and your monthly readings, because they'll just freak you out. They're so accurate. They're brilliant.
Thank you.
But look, it's been amazing to have you on. Thank you so much. It's been so lovely to share your wisdom. I really thoroughly enjoy all of the wisdom that you share. And you're just doing so much, and you've so many different facets and different aspects to what you're doing. It's really, really incredible. And I'm always talking about role models. Role models are not necessarily celebrities and these big high flyers and people that we can't resonate with. There are people like yourself who are showing us and guiding us that we have so much possibility, and there's lots of different tools that we can use to actually carve our way through our own life. So yeah, you're an inspiration all by yourself.
Thank you so much. You're so sweet. Appreciate that.
So thank you very, very much. And yeah, I'll keep following you, and best of luck with everything that you're doing.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me.
Thanks, Angel. Take care. Bye.